Let's dive in and let's not hold back. You want to know what it's like to be invisible until the moment nobody else knows what to do? Well, picture this: the last row on a red eye, Boston to Denver. And yeah, that's where they stick people who, let's just say, don't match the Instagram aesthetic. You know the vibe. That row's reserved for weirdos and people everyone's nose twitches at. The last row, huh? Usually for people who smell. That's what the girl in 33B said, real loud, like she wanted Rachel to hear it. The dude in the Chris Polo? He just up and left. Didn't want to catch whatever she's got. And the flight attendant, fake smile, stretched thin, offered not a drop of help. Headphones? Only for the fancy seats, ma'am. That's how it always starts, right? Like you're not even there. But Rachel, she didn't even blink. She just fished out that battered military headset, Raven Ops emblem half faded, slid it over her ears and leaned back, counting out engine pulses in her head like a living metronome, like she was tuning out the whole world. Long black hair tumbling from under her old gray hoodie, sleeves worn shiny at the elbows, khaki pants that hadn't seen an iron in years, sneakers still caked in dried mud. Rachel looked like the last person you'd trust to save your cat, let alone a plane full of people. No makeup, no jewelry, no statement, nothing to prove. So while the sharp-dressed, manicure queen with the designer purse made a show of wrinkling her nose, Rachel just sank lower, looking out the window, watching the wing flex in the morning light. The man beside her, who thought he was God's gift to polyester, flagged the attendant. "I'm not sitting there. I hate the smell of stale sweat." She didn't even look up. You ever been so used to being written off that you just stopped caring? Yeah, that happened. The plane took off, cabin lights fading to that low blue haze, and Rachel started tapping her knee. 3 taps, a pause, 3 more, rhythm matching the engines perfectly. Some passengers, especially the ones who wear their judgment on their sleeves, snickered. What's she doing, meditating? But Rachel just kept counting, headset on, locked in her own zone. There was a guy across the aisle, close-cropped hair, old bomber jacket you could tell he used to serve, eyes scanning, not missing a detail. He clocked the headset. Didn't say anything, not yet. Rachel sketched diagrams in a frayed notebook, fast, sure lines, like she was mapping the whole rear of the plane. Plotting something? A dad with a sleeping toddler joked, but not really joking, voice just loud enough to stir up worry. His wife clutched her purse tighter, whispers spreading, "Look at her backpack. It's shredded, probably did time or something." Passengers started shifting away, pulling kids close, eyes darting. The student with the earbuds recorded a video, narrating to his followers about this sketchy lady in row 33. The older woman with pearls leaned to her seatmate, whispering, "Why do they let people like that on board?" Rachel's pencil just kept moving, technical, precise. The air around her, though, got colder, sharper, every side eye, and snicker adding a little more weight to the silence. But then, something happened to twist, like life sometimes hands you. That old serviceman across the aisle, he watched her sketches and the way her hands moved, and you could see it on his face, a flicker of recognition. Meanwhile, a businessman, Lockheed badge on his blazer, caught sight of Rachel's notebook, his eyes narrowing. "That's the N900 prototype schematic," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Only Omega Team saw those, but Rachel? She just flipped to a new page. "I worked on it," she said, soft, and went right back to sketching. "If you're still with me, and this is stirring up something, the frustration, the tension, that feeling when you're the only one in the room who knows, but nobody will listen, take a second. Yeah? Drop a comment, hit like. Let's get stories like this out there. Because sometimes being invisible is the closest you'll ever get to freedom and to danger." The flight hit cruising altitude. Everyone settled into boredom and silent scorn. But Rachel was still drawing, diagram after diagram, wiring, hydraulics, technical notes that made even the Lockheed guy sit up straight. Still, people judged, mumbling, just doodling to look important. She pulled out a small set of tools, made a quick note, her movements sharp and practiced. That caught the eye of the serviceman, not suspicion now, but a kind of respect. And then, like all great stories, things went sideways. The plane shuddered hard. Lights flickered. Oxygen masks fell, grinding noise echoing deep under the floor. Screams. Panic. The attendant lost her calm, running for the phone. Rachel, silent all flight, unbuckled and strode toward the rear, backpack on, scanning the overheads. "Sit down," someone yelled. A younger guy grabbed her arm. "Don't cause chaos." Rachel just looked him in the eye, voice low and steady. "Let go." He did. She pointed at a warning light near the galley. "That's the vibration meter. If we don't shut down the electronics cluster now, we lose longitudinal stability in 90 seconds. The Lockheed engineer jumped up. "She's right. That's the thermal feedback anomaly." The attendant hesitated, relayed the message. Rachel knelt by a panel, tools out, hands working with surgical focus. Someone sneered. She just got lucky. But as she worked, the grinding softened, the shaking calmed. The pilot's voice broke through. "Thanks to the quick thinking of the passenger in 33, we've stabilized. Preparing for emergency landing." A ripple moved through the cabin, heads turning, cell phones lowering, silence so thick you could feel everyone's hearts pounding. The same people who mocked, streamed, whispered now, they stared at Rachel with awe, confusion, regret. The blue-haired teen who'd called her a wannabe hacker dropped her phone, eyes wide. The Lockheed guy started clapping, slow and deliberate. The old serviceman joined, his hands steady, his gaze proud. And yet even then, not everyone was willing to give up their pride. The venture capitalist up front sneered. She just read a manual, not a genius. His buddy nodded, eager to agree. But the retired serviceman glared at them, jaw set. As the plane began its descent, a boy who'd been pulled away earlier slipped down the aisle. "Are you a pilot?" he asked, eyes big. Rachel shook her head, "Just someone who pays attention." His mom blushed. "You did good." It was the first kind word she'd gotten all day. Touchdown, a jolt, relief. But people kept watching Rachel. The woman who'd mocked her shoes earlier now stared at news, "Alert passenger in last row, saves flight 214. Rachel didn't see it. She was already standing, calm, packing her things. The woman in the red coat muttered about stolen bags. The student deleted his recording, hands shaking. At the gate, an Air Force officer waited, pressing a red envelope into Rachel's hand, initials VR. Inside, just 3 words, "The sky still needs you." Rachel nodded, walked to the waiting military vehicle, never looking back. The ones who'd laughed were quiet now, every face pale, every phone heavy in their hand. On the way out, a janitor cracked a joke about beat-up economy passengers, but his coworker noticed the officer trailing behind and fell silent. Rachel paused at the car door, scanning the horizon, then climbed in, gone like a rumor. Back in the plane, the flight recorder caught a whisper from the co-pilot, "She's Echo 9. Passengers sat frozen, scrolling through news alerts, faces white with shock. The mother who'd pulled her boy away hugged him tight and whispered, "I was wrong." So, what do you think? Does it really matter how someone looks, or where they sit, or what you think you know about them? Or is it what they do when everything's on the line? Drop your thoughts below. Argue out, what does justice really look like when nobody's watching?